It's me, it's Johnny Boy. Welcome back. As you can see, I'm not looking my best at the moment. I'll get on with it. I contracted pneumonia a couple of weeks ago. Caught up on me, and I spent a little time in hospital, and there's been a bit of a build up to this point for some time, and I want to get back at it, and I want to produce some more videos so you can see what I'm doing on a daily basis. No time lapse. Everybody seems to be doing time lapse at the moment, but in this video I just want to go back and show you some of the people that I've met, some of the jobs that I've been doing, and hopefully you'll find it interesting. Also, a big shout out to John Ward in Birmingham, and Adam from Manchester, Paddy Broadbent up there in Blackpool, and Adam Galdart, Gel Landscapes in Bristol, and all my friends, of course. But some of the guys from the landscaping community really appreciate your support through this period that I've been going through. So thanks, guys. Don't forget, hit the notification button. Don't forget to subscribe, and like the video if you do. See you soon. Nathan, we've talked about tension porcelain. What have you got there?
It's a 10mm premium dry graze bit.
What's it called, sorry?
10mm,
yeah.
Obviously the size, premium dry graze drill bit.
Right, okay. And what are we going to do with that now?
Basically, we're just going to drill inside the intersect here, a 10mm hole. So when you do the cuts, a couple of things happen. It takes the tension out of the cut, but also when you come into this edge, it gives it a slight radius on the corner,
okay,
rather than have it sharp at 90 degrees.
And that helps?
Yes, because if it's a sharp at 90 degrees, the tile wants to go off that way or go off that way.
Right.
But given that little bit of a curve in that corner, it gives a strength to the cut.
So really, you've got to understand the physics of the product you're working with, but also have the right tools.
Yeah, and it's not just necessary to make the cut successful, rather than have it ping off. Once it's laid as well, you've got the extra strength in that joint, because you can cut a tile, lay it, and all seems good. A couple of weeks later, the hairline crack's gone on, and that's,
right.
I've seen that happen, and especially round houses and L-shaped cuts or intersects like there, the tile just naturally wants to carry on. So,
and that's just a characteristic of the porcelain,
and
isn't
you can think you've done the best cut in the world, and then you get a call back a couple of months' time. You've got to do it again, lift the tile.
Let's have a look then, see what we can do now.
So now, when you cut into the outside of the hole. So that's your corner.
And that takes the tension out.
Yeah, and adds strength to that corner.
Right. And we this is one to do here now, yeah?
Yep.
So Nathan, you've got the cuts now.
Yeah.
You've drilled the two core cuts to take the tension out. How are we going to cut these straight lines that we have here now, along here and along here? How are we going to cut this?
As you would normally. As you would normally.
On the bridge saw?
On the bridge saw, yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's have a picture. Nice smile. Nathan, we're going to change the blade now. This is the SPT blade now. We decided to change this one now. Bit of dust.
Yeah, a little bit of...
Yeah, but it can't be helped. It's doing a job, isn't it?
It is.
And
just need cleaning out whenever you change your blade, just give it a good chance to give it a clean out, get it all looking new.
And remember, you're not just cutting porcelain with these machines, are you? You
No,
can cut
it should be
sandstone, you can cut
Changing the
slate.
blades. If you are cutting different materials, then you should be changing the blade on a regular basis.
Okay. And what blade are we going to be putting in here?
Another porcelain blade called the TPX.
Let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
So you've got the TPX Super Pro there.
Yep.
Okay. And what's the difference between this blade? Because you've got this.
It's this is called a turbo blade, whereas the SPT's more of a segmented, where you can see the segments. The blades are made up of the segments, but this is almost a continuous one, but you've just got fancy patterns to help with the cooling and such in there.
Right. Okay. And good blade.
Yeah, good blade. Good
Yeah.
blade.
Maintenance with this as well.
Yeah, same with any blade. Maintenance. With
Clean it through.
the block. Clean
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And it's always good to have the ruby cleaning block as well, really, rather than
Ruby
because
cleaning
people
block,
always
yeah.
think that sandstone is
There's different types of sandstone, there's different compositions, different hardnesses, and I have actually tried to sharpen a blade with some Indian sandstone, and it's actually had a detrimental effect.
right. So
It's not a catch-all sandstone. It's not a magic catch-all.
Yeah.
All different.
thank you.
John, this might be of interest to you. I know it's one of your foibles. When you take the blade out of the packaging, you seem to think, oh, that's the way it should go on, because it's a pretty picture. Flip it around, you'll have the arrow on the blade. Same with your grinder blades, there's a directional arrow on all of them. Make sure they line up with the directional arrow on the machine.
It's easily done, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you see it quite a lot.
Because we're not aware of it. When we go and buy these blades, no one really says to us, make sure you put it the right way around.
And sometimes the way they're packaged is without thinking, you think that's the way it goes on.
Okay.
It does catch a lot of people out.
And what's the effect of putting the blade wrong way around?
It'll start to wear very quickly. It'll cut out square.
Yeah.
It's
Not designed to go that way.
They are designed. They put them on it for a reason. They make them for a reason to go one direction. So it's basically like doing just pushing it the wrong way. It's just going to cause problems.
Struggling.
Yeah, it's going to struggle.
Nathan, I suppose you're breaking the blade in there, just doing a couple
Just
of
a
tests.
little bit, yeah.
And that helps, doesn't it? You
Yeah,
could
yeah.
clearly see that blade is cutting a lot different to what that SPT was then towards the end.
If I had a cleaning block, I'd give it a quick run into that as well. Just to clean up.
Okay. Nathan, success at the
Yes,
moment.
yes.
Those holes, those core holes that you cut, what size core hole was that?
It was 10 mil.
10 mil.
You can use an 8 mil. It's just giving that little bit of curve.
Let's have a little look now, because I struggled for a little while. So there's our piece. There's the core cut you have in the corner here, and you have the other one over here. Now we can clean those little bits up with a small grinder. And this is, what blade is this now we have from Ruby?
That's the
Hardened Euro.
TVH.
The TVH.
Sorry, TVA.
TVA.
You could also use the ECD blade, the grinder.
Yeah, and that will clean up the edge.
Might
But
be a little bit
you
more.
can clearly see as well, there's no fragmentation along the cut because we've used this TPX Super Pro. Fresh blade.
And drill out the holes.
And is that a good feeling when that works?
Yeah, it is. Especially because you got it on camera.
You can't see my face. I'm over the moon. Seriously, there's nothing worse for a contractor when you get into a stage in your project and you want to get done. That's the last cut really that I've got to do, the last difficult cut. And what we've done, we've got that core cut. We used a 10 mil, didn't we?
Yeah.
10 mil. Is 10 mil the more suitable size, or are there?
We recommend 10 mil or 8 mil. It'll all come down to the finish as well, because obviously the larger the radius of the drill bit, the larger the more noticeable curve you'll have in the cut. If you put it up against like a square manhole, you might want to try it with a smaller diameter to reduce the curve in it, you know.
I gotta say, I've seen you cut those core cuts many times in the past, and I had a lot of doubt about it, to be honest, but and I did. But I can see that works. I can clean that up now, nice and smart, so it fits around the mallow, as long as I've got the measurements right. But I'll get that bedded in today, and I'll be able to show our viewers what it looks like and how it's succeeded. But that's given me loads of confidence now for the future now, Nath. But one thing I've got to say is I'm going to need some core cutters now. No, that's brilliant, mate. Honest, I'm over the moon. Well, there we are, Nathan. Many thanks. Really appreciate your help and your advice on how to use those core cutters to take the tension out of the porcelain. We've demonstrated and shown how the forces with tension in porcelain, how much it bends. It just defies belief. But you can see now where we've cleaned up the edge on the corners, okay? Once this is bedded in place and I know that porcelain is being held down by the mortar, I can go around and just trim it up. Sometimes these trays are not exactly true to form. So many thanks for that, Nathan. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to get my whole new set of core cutters. Well, that's it. It's the end of the day, and it's been an interesting day. And a big thanks to Ruby. They come out and gave me some tips on how to cut porcelain paving. Morning. I'm with Lloyd this morning. It's a sunny day. It's Monday morning, and if you are a customer that we're currently working on your project, and we will be there at some point, and we will get your job done, won't we, Lloyd?
Nice and early, as long as I got my Red Bull.
And a cup of tea. Lloyd, can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself? And remember, no heavy breathing. Somebody picked it up the other day saying about your heavy breathing, and you're quite fit as well, aren't you? Yeah. I don't mean handsome fit, like some may say so, but it's not my cup of tea. Like, but you a bit of a heavy breather the other day, weren't you?
Yeah,
but you do a bit of boxing.
Yeah, 21 boxing. My coach Gavin Reese, and I do the landscape now to keep myself fit and progress into a good job in the future.
Look, you're going to put yourself, on the front line here. You intend to stay a while, don't you?
Exactly. I'm in it for the long time, not a good time.
Unlike some of the other labourers I had before, they couldn't stick it, could they?
Ah, well.
Have you got a message to them? You say.
Try and be the best. You've got to beat me, haven't you? Because I'm the competition out here now.
See, there you are. But you can still join the Greentop landscape team if you're interested in landscaping and you want to sort of, do a good job. And it's a great job, isn't it, landscaping?
Yeah. You have to put up with me on the barrow, though. You have to be quicker than me.
Well, Lloyd and I have been down and got some more soil this morning, and it's good stuff. Lloyd's going to get this in. Look how dark and rich that is. This is they call it a Welsh mix, and I think we're gonna start digging this into the ground today, Lloyd. And that ground's dried up nicely around the back now, hasn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
No heavy breathing on the phone today.
John, you're spending a lot of time on this soil, mate.
Yeah, and the reason for that, we just got to have it right, because the thing is, when the weather's like this, we can take full too fast.
Why are you playing with the soil so much, John?
Well, the weather is perfect conditions at the moment. We've got a lot of cutting to do on here still. It's not a lot, but we can get it done. But when the weather's like this, what's happening is that we're introducing a good quality soil, okay? We've introduced sharp sand, we've introduced an organic soil, we've introduced 6mm limestone chipping, and what we're going to be doing is today we're going to start distributing that throughout, finally, more or less to where it needs to be. And the only way you can do it is in good weather. If it was to rain now, that would just go, it's just best off just leaving it, because it's just going to turn to mud otherwise. It's great first thing in the morning when you arrive and it's quiet. It gives you time just to think about what we've got planned ahead. Let me show you. So first of all, we've got to complete this circle. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuts to complete that circle. And I can assure you this paving is it is clean. We have cleaned it. It's just where I've gone over with my feet after. This is the Harvey Brown from Styled. I'm getting paid to say that. This is it's a little bit wet. It'll be fine. There's plenty of cement in there. It's not going to come apart. But it just makes me feel better knowing that when we stick these little tiles along the edges, if they're not chipped, I know it's going to stay in place. Well, just getting that bed ready again. We've taken the lettuce out and we've had a couple of feeds from that lettuce. So good to be in the garden and at least it's not raining. Really enjoyed putting that little concrete plinth in on that project for Denise at Miller's Wood, and we're going to go back to that in the near future and you'll be able to see how I stuck the tiles down using that Mapai exterior adhesive. You've got the fast set and you've also got the rapid set. Where are we next? Well, whoever thought that Show Sugi ban would take off in this country? I was told that it wasn't going anywhere, and it just seems to be that everybody's burning wood now for one reason or another. That's what I've got to get on with. That's my next project, my own garden. So in this video, we're going to show you the processes needed to install the perfect Tobermoor driveway. So before starting your driveway project, it's important to be aware of any planning and water drainage regulations in your area. It's essential and a must that you check out all the services in your driveway, i.e. gas, water, electric, and even oil. To install a driveway correctly, you will need the following tools, equipment, and PPE. Some other materials you may need. In this situation, we're using an MOT Type 1, or what you would know as 40mm to dust or blinded. Sharp sand for the laying course, kiln dry sand for jointing the blocks, sand and cement for concreting the curbs. You may also require drainage channels and recessed manhole covers. All these materials can be purchased from your local builders merchants. The first stage is to excavate the area to the required depth. To calculate the depth of the excavation required, add the depth of the block paver, 30mm thickness of sharp sand and laying course, and the depth of your sub-base. A typical driveway will require a sub-base of between 125mm and 150mm depending on your ground conditions. If the ground is soft, you will require a greater depth of sub-base. Always ensure the finished level of the driveway is at least 150mm below the damp-proof course of the house. When installing a driveway, it's so important to maintain the integrity of the driveway in itself, and we do this by using edge restraints. In this case, the edge restraints are a Tobermoor Tegler curb large. To ensure the alignment and the finish level, we're using a string line. It's so important that your curbs are installed correctly. In this case, we're using a 6-to-1 mix, 6 sharp, 1 cement as a semi-dry. That semi-dry is going to ensure that your blocks don't tilt one way or another way, and when you tap them down, they stay in place. We've got our mortar on our curb brace now, and we've got to make sure that when we're tapping down sufficiently enough to ensure that there's a good bed underneath. Try and hold your curb in position like so, tapping it down with your mallet, but always make sure and ensure that you use a bolt level, because your bolt level is going to make sure that the top of your curb is touching your line. And you need to get down and have a look and see what you're doing. Well, here we are. We've laid our curbs, they're in place, but now we want the curbs to stay in position. And we do that by putting a concrete mix on the back of the curbs, haunching it off, smoothing it off, ensuring you don't get any sideways movement. Now we can install the sub-base layer. For a 115mm depth of sub-base, you should install two 75mm layers. Spread the first layer of aggregate and rake it level. Compact it fully using a vibrating plate compactor. It is important to lay your paving with a slight fall. This means laying it to a very slight slope to allow surface water to run off the surface to drainage gullies, channels or soft landscaping. For block paving on a driveway, this is usually a minimal fall of 1 in 60. This means 1 centimetre of fall for every 60 centimetres of distance. This means if your driveway is 5 metres long, you should convert this to mm.
5,000 millimeters and divide by 60, which means the driveway will fall 85 millimeters approximately over its length. This fall should be created in the subbase, not the laying course. To create the fall in the subbase, place a string line on the finished level of the driveway at the highest point and run it to a stake at the lower end of the driveway. Use a string line spirit level to check its level. At the low end of the driveway, measure down the string line 80 millimeters. Place a wooden peg at this level. This now indicates where the subbase material needs to be brought up to. You can do these in various locations on the driveway to guide you.
So here we are, we've got a subbase in place, it's compacted, and now it's time to put in our bedding course. For this, we're going to be using a sharp sand, and it's so important that your sharp sand has enough moisture content, and the best way to test that to see if it forms a ball. So what Dave's doing here now, he's setting in the screed rails. The screed rails he's using in this case is a 30mm rail. What that 30mm rail will do will to ensure that he uses the correct depth of sand that is required for the bedding course. So as you can see, Dave's got the rails firmly in place. He's packing the sand either side of the rail to ensure that we don't get any movement. But what we need to do now, we need to use a string line from A to B, and to ensure that we haven't got any sagging in the rails throughout the distance. So what we're doing now, Dave is ensuring that the rail is to the correct height with the string line. So what Dave has done now, he's set up the second line from threshold to threshold. He's got the screed rail underneath that line, and he's checking that we have the correct depth. Right, okay, so what we have here now, you can see the laying course slowly coming to life. We've got the two screeding rails either side running parallel, and Dave is using a screeding bar and floating as he goes to achieve the required level. And as you can see, he's pulling the screeding bar over the screeding rails as he goes, and it's leaving a perfectly smooth finish. So what we're doing now, we're pulling the screed rail back and it's creating a void. So we put the extra sand in to ensure that there's no voids in our laying course. And what we're doing in this case, we're using a plastic float to ensure a good level. Filling the void as we go. These are the Shannon Duo 50mm block, perfect for a driveway. Comes in two different sizes, the rectangle and the square. These need to be laid in an alternate format. Well, as you can see, Dave and Ryan are making rapid progress and it's looking good, but it's important that you don't have any straight joints. So we need to create some contrast with this driveway, and we're going to do that with these sienna silver sets. Absolutely beautiful. So important, as you're laying your driveway, you've got to make sure you've got the correct level. When laying a block, you need to lay it nice and square in this format right the way down. What we don't want to be doing is laying our block at an angle like this, creating that indentation underneath, creating a void. Then your driveway is going to just run out. My top tip when installing your Tobermoor driveway is to
check the alignment of your paving every metre or so with a string line. So we've got our full size blocks in, but we have a cut on this one side. So probably the easiest way to do a cut is to take the previous laid block out, like so, place the block you're going to cut in the hole, and then overlay with the previous cut block. Mark across like so. We know that this is our waste. We put an X on that for waste. Place our block back in. We don't want to be tripping over. This is a conventional block splitter. Place the block underneath to the line. Tighten up. And remember to put the block at an angle so you undercut. There we have it. Well, we finished laying the driveway using the Shannon slate block paving and also the contrasting silver sienna sets. So important when you're brushing in your granite sand, you need to do it at a 45. This will ensure that you're not brushing the sand out of the joint. And remember, wear your mask. It's so important when using a compactor plate that you use a rubber mat. This will ensure that you won't damage or scratch the surface of your paving. Well, now we're going to give our driveway a final compaction to achieve the correct height, but it's so important that you don't forget your PPE. Ear defenders, glasses, but more importantly, your mask. Well, it's done, and all that's left to do is to brush off the sand, and we've completed. It may be necessary in the near future to come back and just top up with some sand in some of the joints if necessary. So as you can see, the driveway is completed. I'm sure you'll agree it looks absolutely fantastic. We've completed this driveway using the Shannon Duo slate block paving, also with a contrasting sienna silver set. This driveway is perfect for the modern contemporary home, also the traditional.
That was such an interesting video by Tomore. They produced it so well. Their products are absolutely second to none, and I personally don't think that there's anything like their products in the UK. The way they reduce the efflorescence in the block in the manufacturing process is totally different from anybody out there. Anyway, in the meantime, this Ivor Williams trailer is only just 1.5 years old, but you've got to make sure that your lights are working correctly, because you'll soon get stopped. I'm looking great, aren't I? I'm getting over it. I am recovering, but where are we going to be next in this video? Hi, it's me, it's Johnny Boy, and we're in the garden today, and as you can see, we've got copious amounts of fencing material from Durapost. This is the Urban Durapost. It's a composite product, and it's a beautiful product as well, very contemporary and very modern. The beauty about Durapost is that they have these H-shaped, galvanized, powder coated posts that's going to have some longevity and durability. The other thing, of course, is they have in these sections, it comes in 6 pieces, okay, that's 1.8. You have a top rail. Let me get this one out, just show you this. There's your top rail, okay, powder coated,
very neat, very sleek. This will be housed over the top like so. And you have a similar rail at the bottom, but the difference with the rail board, you have some weep holes. Let me just show you from here. I don't want to move. So with the bottom rail, there'll be some weep holes to identify it at the bottom. So if the water goes in, it can escape and run out and not cause a problem to the rail itself. Now, we have got a post that actually is designed to go on the wall. We've fixed that to the wall, and then we basically just slide each composite section in, screwing it as we go, okay? It's a little bit like Meccano in some ways, but I can assure you that the integrity of this fencing system is second to none. It's quality, okay? It's going to maintain its color. I've showed you on previous videos, but we've got an install here where we're going to go from A to B in a straight line there. We're going to return it on the back and then back up this side. Now, the neighbours on this side and this side are more than happy for this fence to come down, the existing fence to come down. The benefits for the neighbour in this case is that they're going to be seeing a beautiful contemporary fence on their side and enjoy the benefits what the customer is having on this side. So everybody's happy, it's a win-win. Of course, with DuraPost, it's slimline, nice and neat, so you ain't gonna lose so much of your boundary and border with those big 3x2s and those 4x4 posts that you see in gardens up and down the country. It's just a British thing in an urban garden to see feather edge fencing. Does it last? Well, we'll see. But we know that with a composite, it's gonna last a lot longer. We've also got a gate to put in on that side of the garden, and that's in a DuraPost system. So everything is matched up nice and neat. Over the next couple of days and the next couple of weeks, I'll be slowly releasing some content of this install as we go along.
Well, that DuraPost composite fencing system is now complete. Well, we've got to put the gate up. I'm lying. No, it's a fantastic product, and DuraPost have a good system as well. They have an installer scheme as well. So if you're a landscaper or a fencer and you want to become part of an installer scheme, just give DuraPost a ring. Where are we going now? Well, I couldn't resist it, could I? I had to finish on a time lapse, and there was no better time lapse than that historic flag installation with Tobermoor in Ireland. Really enjoyed my time out there with those guys out there. They were just absolutely spot on in everywhere. I mean, their hospitality was absolutely second to none. Their products are good, and making those videos with them was fun. So it was good. Look, that's it, it's over. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I just want to say thank you very much for joining. If you need any help, just go to the website, which is www.greentoplandscapes.co.uk. Drop us an email at info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk, and I will try and help if I can. If you may have some questions that you need answering, if I've got the answer, you can have it off me, no problem at all. But now I think it's time I got back to some normality and had a shave. Be safe. See you soon.